If we were in Mexico, this would be heresy. I wonder where everybody is.
The short answer, all over the place, like the Latina diaspora itself. Mexican dance teacher Susana Isunza may be locked out of the local cemetery, but she's not disconnected from the dead.
Tienen también un poco de aroma de plantas, de hojas de aguacate y esto. El aroma, más allá de lo que percibimos en nuestro sabor, viene aquí a nuestra memoria. Y el aroma evoca. Somos memoria. Y seremos recordados también, como nosotros estamos recordando este Día de los Muertos. Bueno, este es un ritual y es una situación de representación. Primero es una nostalgia de tu identidad, de lo que tú eres y de tus antepasados. Por ejemplo, a mí mi padre, lo más cercano, entonces siempre yo pongo un altar para él. Porque tú emigras, pero llevas contigo como tu maleta, aunque no sea material, llevas como un patrimonio que ya llevas tú en tu cuerpo. Pues la vida es un enigma porque es lo maravilloso que no sabemos lo que va a pasar.
Isunza's lived in Barcelona for 14 years. Each Day of the Dead, she does her pre-Columbian thing, whether people come through her open front door or not.
As you know, we Mexicans have a very particular relationship with death. Pan festivo, how do you say in English?
Party bread.
Party or celebration. Or is quite known all over the world because it's directly related with the death. Our idea of death is like convivir con ella.
To live with it?
And to celebrate life and death as part of the same thing. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
Across the city, Mexican musician turned baker Tonatiuh Cortez prepares to celebrate an uncle who's died, a fellow musician and his inspiration.
I would say he was my first teacher of music. He was composer, he was director of the Superior School of Music in Mexico, and he passed away 2 years ago.
And do you remember something he said to you when you were little that made you think music is going to be my life?
I think the most important teaching he gave me was his own life. His example was the...
And do you remember the last time you saw him?
He was standing right here.
In the bakery?
In the bakery.
In a visit?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were just open like in 1 or 2 months, and he was here visiting.
For a Mexican baker, there's one way to pay tribute, by making bread of the dead. But like Isunza, Cortez has been away for a long time. The other day, his mom, who was visiting, had to set him straight.
She was here last week, so
okay.
She helped me with the first samples. Okay, you have to make it like this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Was there you remember some specific thing that she corrected you on?
Yes, the bone technique, because it's really hard. Let me show you the shape of the bones with 3 fingers.
Okay.
So this is a bit tricky.
Uh-huh. And why?
And it's tricky because the dough is alive. Try it.
Yeah.
3 fingers and rolling it.
I do a different technique. I roll forward.
What are you doing?
Then you get a lot of people will put 2 eyes right in the front there, a little antenna, and then.
Even with the recipe right, it doesn't mean the Spanish will buy it. But Cortez has found a solution.
Here's the difficulty for these guys selling this bread in Spain. If they leave this little sign on here, it says pan de muerto, or the bread of death, which in Mexico everyone buys. But if they leave it like this here in Spain, this bread's probably going to sit here through Christmas because people get freaked out.
But with a flip of the sign, it's now All Saints' Day bread. Now that people can relate to and buy, like these 2 Catalan guys.
No lo conocíamos, lo que pasa es que seguimos a zona por el Facebook y como hacían publicidad y eso que dices, pues tiene buena pinta, vamos a probarlo. Pero yo la verdad que me esperaba un panecito más pequeño que lo hemos visto ahora y es así de grande.
Ah, qué bueno.
But most of Tonatiuh's bread of the dead clients are Mexican. Lola Zavala is originally from Mexico City.
¿Te acuerdas del primer pan que hiciste? Era duro.
Pero era más bizcocho, que más crujiente, que...
Esa fue la primera vez que hice pan de muerto.
Sí, pero lo
en mi
hiciste
casa,
en tu
¿verdad?
casa. Lo hice en su casa sin un horno.
No me acordaba.
Zafala's buying the bread for herself and for Eduardo Galeano, the late great Uruguayan writer. She invites me along.
¿Qué tienes en la bolsa?
Pues
Pesa un montón.
This is Casa America, a cultural center in Barcelona. Each year, Zafala builds the main attraction for the Day of the Dead celebration, the altar. Eduardo Galeano wrote with wry humor about Mexican offerings, traditionally placed on altars as a way of saying thanks, sometimes for unlikely things.
Gracias al Santo Niño de Atocha, porque tengo 3 hermanas y yo soy la más fea y me casé primero.
¿Cuánto llevas fuera de México?
Llevo 12 años.
Y cuando hueles esta flor en otoño,
Es como regresar, ¿no? Sí, yo te digo que estaba yo limpiando las hojas de estas flores ahí sentada y estaba yo muy feliz. No había comido, llevaba 10 horas, ¿no?
You want to get transported? Visit Zavala's house.
holy cow. Pero tu casa es un altar.
Ella pues era muy especial para mí porque las navidades y todo, cuando yo era pequeña pues la pasábamos en su casa. Cada que iba pues a México me preparaba así, conseguía que comiera yo pozole porque sabe que me gusta, me llevaba mariachi. Y ha sido un golpe muy duro este año porque yo pensé que la veía, ¿no? En diciembre. Entonces bueno, ella al final viene antes aquí.
Según me explicas, es una manera de acercarse también. ¿Se puede ver de manera triste o también positiva?
Pues yo creo que más positivo, o sea, para mí ha sido como más positivo por lo mismo que te digo, que yo sé que y siento que mi tía vendrá.
Y al desmantelar, ¿cómo es? ¿Qué sensación vives?
Galeano tiene un escrito que encontré ahora para la ofrenda que decía que los mexicanos llamamos a nuestros muertos para que vengan esta noche y luego ya, por favor, váyanse.
For Mexicans far from home, there's nothing like music to remember the deceased. To remember that death isn't such a big deal, says Marco Antonio Hernández.
En Coatepec, por ejemplo, mi pueblo, está el panteón y ya hay varias colonias así que colindan con el panteón. Y la gente a las 11, 12 de la noche atraviesa el panteón para no dar la vuelta a toda la colonia.
No pasa nada.
No pasa nada, solo se pasan así.
Camino,
sí, un atajo y ahí se nota inmediatamente que la mentalidad mexicana, ¿no? Que no hay por qué tener miedo a un muerto. Ya se dice, bueno, es que los muertos no hacen nada, hay que tener miedo a los vivos.
Afraid of the living. For Mexicans, that resonates. This year, some have made a non-altar. 43 wreaths, 43 candles, set out on soil. It's for the 43 student teachers disappeared last year in Guerrero State, when police allegedly handed them over to hitmen from a drug cartel. No bodies have been found. Parents can't place their kids' photos on their altars. They can't get closure. Across town, the cry for justice is even stronger and wider-ranging. Artist Teo Ronskiano Guzman contributes to this altar with 4 sides.
Feminicidios, fosas clandestinas, muertos por las dictaduras y finalmente inmigrantes. Esto no es para turistas, no es un museo, no es un espectáculo, o sea, empatizamos con esas causas que no son ajenas, por eso es que a nosotros sí nos afectan y esta es la manera de mostrar esta sensibilidad.
Latinos doing Day of the Dead here push back against injustices. They suffer the long distances, and they also compete, mainly against that most aggressive and invasive of species, Halloween.
Hello, my scary son. Hello.
Guilty as charged. But maybe it doesn't have to be one thing or the other. There's this one guy, Alejandro Cervantes. He's from San Francisco, but owns a restaurant called Amelie here on this Barcelona plaza. His idea is to meld competing traditions into Castaloween, a mix of the Catalan Castañada, or Feast of Chestnuts, Halloween, and Day of the Dead.
Here we have three traditions, right?
And why are you mixing them all together?
Because in many ways we're all connected to these traditions, right? In one way or another. Right? So we thought, why not celebrate all of them and really celebrate the possibility of inventing new traditions, right? So here we are.
Judging by the kids' reactions, yeah, there is room for all of these traditions. You've got mirth, remembrance, nuts, and candy. And of course, underlying it all, on good days and bad, in costume or not, there's that one thing we all have in common. La Llorona, Mexicans call her. Death itself.
Ya te he dado la vida, Llorona, ¿qué más quieres? Quiere más.